He's my buddy now.
What have you done to him?
Me? I did nothing at all. Unless shooting him with my mind control beam that runs on alien energy counts is doing something to him. Does it? To get to me, you're going to have to go through your best friend.
How the hell is Tails keeping up with Sonic here? Hello everyone and welcome back. My name's Argonaut, and today we're talking about Sonic Colors, Sonic Team's next mainline release after Sonic Unleashed, including its development history, story, and gameplay, as well as my thoughts on it. But before all that, if you like this video and want to see more like it, then feel free to click that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And now, with all that shameless promotion out of the way, on with the video. Development for Sonic Colors would begin in 2008, right after the completion of Sonic Unleashed. And, as I've previously stated in my Sonic Unleashed video, after Sonic Unleashed released to mixed reviews, Sega mandated a tighter budget be used for Sonic games going forward. And, taking into account critic and player feedback, Sonic Team would make Sonic the only playable character and put all their efforts on him, so no more playable friends. They also wanted to make a kid-friendly entry to capitalize on children ages 6 to 12, who are fans of the Mario and Sonic crossover games. So that also meant no more darker storylines, but rather a family-friendly approach. More like a Saturday morning cartoon. And again, following the player feedback, there would be no big shakeups to the boost formula. Can't be having another Werehog on our hands, right? But to substitute this, the aliens were added to the game to shake up Sonic's gameplay. To even prepare for the release of Sonic Colors and bring more value back to the brand, older, mediocre Sonic games, such as Sonic 06, and even Sonic Unleashed temporarily, were delisted. And so, on November 16th of 2010, Sonic Colors was released for the Nintendo Wii, and it was also released for the DS, with that version being developed by Studio Dimps, although that's its own thing and we're not going to talk about that today. And now, with that being said, let's move on to the next thing I want to talk about. Now, if you watch my videos, you know that this would normally be the part where I talk about my first time playing the game, however many years ago. But here's the thing. With Sonic Colors, I never did. And I'm going to address the differences between the original game and the remaster right now before I actually start talking about the gameplay of the game, because I have a pretty fair idea of how the comments will look if I don't. Sonic Colors was for Nintendo consoles, and unfortunately, I was a PlayStation kid, so I never actually got the chance to play it, despite hearing relatively good things about it. It wouldn't be until after it got a remaster in 2021 for the 8th generation of consoles that I'd finally be able to play it. Developed by Blind Squirrel Games, Sonic Colors Ultimate was a remaster of the Wii exclusive title with a few extra features. But unfortunately, after the game released, there were some problems with it. The lighting was off, ruining some of the stage's designs, the load times were longer, the cutscenes were AI upscaled and didn't look too great, some of the audio didn't play right, and there were flashing lights at points that could cause an epileptic seizure. Now, these weren't all the issues with the game at launch, but I'm just giving you a few examples. Hearing all the backlash when the game first came out, I never bothered to buy it. As someone that's picked up Sonic 06 and Sonic Forces on day one, fool me twice, shame on you, you know? That's how it goes, right? And so I basically forgot all about Sonic Colors until PlayStation gave it away for free in March of 2025, when I of course downloaded it, but I had my own backlog of games to get through at the time, so I never actually played it before now. Also, I kinda wanted to wait in case there were going to be any late patches to the game, but now that we're done talking about that, let's move on to the story and gameplay of the game. As I previously stated, I'm using the Sonic Ultimate version of the game, so with that, I'm going to wait until the very end of the section to talk about the things that you can do exclusively in Sonic Colors Ultimate. But the story of this game is comically simple. Eggman created an amusement park in space to show that he's sorry for everything that he's done. Not believing him, Sonic and Tails go to check it out. Turns out, he really captured a bunch of planets using tractor beams, and he plans on harnessing the power of the aliens living on them to mind control everyone on Sonic's planet. And it's up to Sonic and Tails to stop him. Wait, didn't we just do an Eggman theme park in Sonic Unleashed? What is his obsession with theme parks? Ah, well, whatever. Getting to the controls, Sonic controls exactly like how he did in Sonic Unleashed. Although, oddly enough, in Ultimate, they swapped his boost button and his slide button from what it was in Unleashed, so there were a few times I found myself boosting into walls I needed to slide under, and vice versa. You have the option to change the mapping of the controls, but I didn't figure that out until after I beat the game. But new to this game, Sonic can harness the power of the aliens to grant himself temporary new abilities. Some of these include turning into a rocket to gain extra height, turning into a cube to clear obstacles around him, turning into a spike ball that can stick to walls and that can also spin dash because apparently Sonic can't natively do that anymore, turning into a laser that can ricochet off walls to get to a further distance, or get into otherwise inaccessible places. These aren't all of them, but this is just to name a few. Also, instead of grabbing rings to fill up your boost gauge, you fill it up by grabbing white alien capsules. I found that I was careful with my boost for a different reason than I was in Sonic Unleashed. In Sonic Unleashed, I didn't boost too often because I wouldn't be able to react to an obstacle fast enough. It could easily lead you to shooting yourself off a cliff or some other type of quick death. In Colors, I was careful with my boost because I didn't know the placements of the white alien capsules. There were some rather long stretches I went without seeing one, and I was just afraid to use up all my boost before then. For the levels of the game, it's divided into 7 areas, each representing a different planet, with each area having 6 acts and a boss fight. As daunting as 6 acts per stage sounds, the stages aren't actually all that long. Some of them you can get through in about 2 minutes, as they focus more on you exploring the stages as opposed to reaching the end. The stages also swap between 2D and 3D throughout, giving you the boosting gameplay from Sonic Unleashed, while giving you a more modernized platforming section similar to the old 2D Sonic games. Also, throughout the levels, you'll find many alien capsules. By the way, the aliens are called Wisps, but because I have a lisp, I struggled to say that, so...
Yeah, I'll just stick with aliens if that's okay with everybody.
But for the early levels, you'll come to find that you actually can't even use most of them yet, since you unlock specific aliens by going to specific worlds as you go through the game. Meaning a lot of the faster routes for a level you can't even access, giving the game a fair amount of replayability to revisit those levels after you've unlocked all the different alien variations. And I will say, for some of the worlds on my first playthrough, my score ranking was looking like my high school report card, and keep in mind, this game is relatively lenient when it comes to giving you a score, but when you can't access some of the other routes, or if you don't explore enough to collect things, it all adds up. Along with the locked alien routes, another thing that adds replayability to the game are the Red Star rings. Sonic Colors was actually the first game to add these to it. Hidden throughout the stages are 5 Red Star rings you're able to collect. Unlike Sonic Unleashed, you can actually take your time to explore the stages and look for these. Exploring is pretty much encouraged in every stage, and unlike the medals from Sonic Unleashed, these aren't mandatory to collect. But you do unlock extra stages in one of Eggman's attractions called the Sonic Simulator. Just think of it like bonus Sonic levels, except you're playing as a virtual Sonic avatar instead of regular Sonic. And it even has multiplayer. Not like I could find someone to play with me, though. But once you clear all the levels, you'll be able to unlock Super Sonic, who's actually not mandatory in this game. I don't think you've had to go out of your way to unlock Super Sonic in a main Sonic game since Sonic Heroes. I also believe this is the first time you're able to freely use Super Sonic in a 3D Sonic game, so at least the game added more to it if you wanted it, which is a good thing, because the game's main campaign is only about 4 hours long. And now, let's talk about the bosses of the game. Like I said earlier, each world has 6 acts and then a boss stage. The bosses of the game aren't hard, they're giant set pieces where you have to use your platforming skills to work your way and get a hit. The first boss is a giant Ferris wheel where you have to navigate the platforms to hit its eye in the center. The second boss, Captain Jelly, you have to use your platforming skills to get across his ship and hit a lever, which will lure him out and then you can damage him. And the third boss, Frigate Orkin, you have to use your speed to catch up to him and damage him while avoiding oncoming projectiles. Unfortunately, the game ends up basically recycling these 3 bosses and giving you a slightly harder version of them to fight for the other 3 levels. As for the end of the game, Eggman is able to harness the power of the aliens and incorporates it into his newest machine. And after hearing him say that they can't beat it, and apparently not wanting to hear that type of negativity, Sonic knocks Tails into an escape pod and forces him to leave, before proceeding to fight against the machine by himself. For the fight itself, it's pretty much a chase sequence like one of the earlier bosses, but this time, Eggman's using the alien powers that you've been using yourself throughout the whole game. which actually wasn't that hard, and wait, hold on. Have I seen this before? But the only time I actually had trouble was when he used the cube power-up, because I couldn't tell where the cubes were going to fall. Now, I don't know if I wasn't able to see it, or if it was an issue with the game, but you'd think that there'd be a shadow above your head letting you know where the cubes are going to fall or something. But anyway, after beating Eggman, Sonic frees the aliens he's captured and teams up with them to destroy his machine. For the ending of the game, the theme park gets destroyed, and Eggman gets stranded in space, and Sonic gets taken back to his planet by one of the aliens that he's rescued. And then you get hit with the whole half-hour credit sequence. Maybe it's just me, but I don't think I've seen one this long for a long time. I'm used to 10 minutes or so nowadays, and those are on the longer end of things. But that's pretty much it for the regular game. And Sonic Colors Ultimate adds its own new gameplay features. It added a new alien power you could use called the Jade Ghost, which would let Sonic phase through walls, ring dash, because apparently he can't do that on his own for some reason, and move freely throughout the air. When I played through the game, I didn't even know that this was a new addition. It didn't feel off to me at all and fit right in. Also new with the Ultimate Edition are these rival races against Metal Sonic. Once you collect at least 15 Red Star rings in a world, you'll get a prompt letting you know that you can race him in the stage. When I tried, I found it to pretty much be a ghost race, and I essentially beat myself, since I wasn't familiar enough with the stages and messed up due to rushing. Once you beat them, however, you unlock park tokens and custom auras for Sonic. And that's another thing that the Ultimate Edition added to the game. Customizability options for Sonic in something called the Souvenir Shop. Here, using park tokens that you earn as you play the game, you can change Sonic's gloves, shoes, your profile icon, or give him an aura, among other things. Personally, I find it weird that for something that's supposed to be the Ultimate Edition of the game, they had DLC for it to give you even more silver or gold gloves and shoes, or a boost that has an effect like the one from the movie, and a music DLC, which gives you even more remixed music, even though the tracks for the game are already remixed? You'd think that they would just include this with the game as is, but hey, whatever. The last big change that Ultimate added was the Tails save. In the original Sonic Colors, you had lives, but in Ultimate, they removed that, and instead of finding lives as you play, you'll see a picture of Tails. And basically, if you die, Tails works like a better checkpoint to reset your position, because this game apparently wasn't easy enough. But now that we're done talking about the gameplay of the game, let's talk about what happened after it came out. After Sonic Colors was released, it received generally positive reviews, and by March of 2011, managed to sell 2.18 million copies. It would also obviously go on to get the Sonic Colors Ultimate Remaster, ported by Blind Squirrel Games over 10 years later, and the Sonic Colors level Planet Wisp was also put into Sonic Generations, and the alien powers returned in multiple games after Colors, including Sonic Lost World, Sonic Generations, and Sonic Forces. Even the fact that you needed the white alien to gain boost remained the same in those games. But with all that said and done, it's time for my thoughts about the game. Going into Sonic Colors, I pretty much didn't know what to expect. I kept an open mind and just dived right in. First off, with the Ultimate Edition I played, I didn't see any real gameplay issues. Granted, whatever problems the game had were all probably patched out years ago, but I will say the cutscenes did look off. The quality didn't look up to par with the game itself. Originally, I assumed maybe the devs just didn't bother to try to remaster the cutscenes at all, but apparently that wasn't the case. And again, I don't know if it was me, or if it was the game itself, but when Eggman used the cube attack during the final boss fight, I couldn't tell where the cubes were going to land, since I wasn't able to see a shadow. But besides that, I had no real issues playing the game itself. As for the game itself, I thought Sonic Colors was alright. It had some great visuals at points, and I actually really enjoyed some of the jokes throughout the game more than I thought I would. Like this one.
The mouse man said to wrangle every piece of this mess. When you consider what we're doing from a robot's point of view, it's actually pretty gruesome.
Don't think about it.
I also didn't expect the game to be this short though, but they do offer plenty more to do to get some more life out of it. I liked what they did with the Red Star rings in this game. I can't say I'm a fan of games having collectibles for no reason besides bragging rights. There should be a point to it if you're going to put forth all that effort to travel around and collect everything. So, I'm happy that Supersonic was an unlockable extra. Aside from that though, I do think that 7 acts per world is a bit too much, even if they weren't that long. Maybe if they took some of the acts, gave them a different background, and just called it a different world, I think that might have been a bit better possibly. Or just get rid of some of the shorter acts and extend the length of the existing ones. Overall, at the end of the day, I just really feel neutral about this game. I don't hate it, but I don't particularly like it either. Maybe it's because I'm just coming off of Sonic Unleashed and its high-speed gameplay, or maybe it's because I know about the games that come after, or maybe it's because I'm a 90s kid and this game was aimed at 7 to 12-year-olds. But for a main game, this feels like the most casual Sonic experience ever to me. Like, if you were looking to get into a Sonic game, this would be a great starting point. Or if you were looking to play a Sonic game to try and get a high rank in a level while at the same time laying back in your chair or laying on your side on your couch, this would be the one to do so. It's like the vanilla ice cream of Sonic games. But hey, my girlfriend likes vanilla ice cream, so she might like this game. But most other people? They'll eat vanilla, sure, but they probably prefer cookies and cream, or Rocky Road, maybe chocolate chip. You can also tell that this is when Sega started playing things safe, but while Unleashed may have been the one that heavily laid down the formula for the Sonic games we have today, Colors feels like the game that refined that formula. I'll try to play it again in a few months and see if anything changes, but as of now, nothing in this game really stands out to me. It feels like Sonic's speed got toned down a bit from Unleashed, and from what I remember, he's faster again in Generations onward. None of the levels or bosses particularly stood out to me either, although it would have been cool in the Ultimate Edition if they let you play as Metal Sonic or something, but it just feels like a Sonic game that nobody could hate or really love, unless you have some type of childhood nostalgia with it. And those are my thoughts on Sonic Colors, Sonic's Wii-exclusive mainline game. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? For the people whose favorite game is Sonic Colors, or for the people that really like it, let me know why in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And, with that being said, thanks so much for watching, guys. I always appreciate it. And here's what's coming up next in the Sonic Marathon. Hey guys, so apparently it's come to my attention that in my Sonic Unleashed video, I said the word gauge wrong a lot, so gauge, 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 gauge,